Oh, I just found.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, July 11th. I thank everyone coming to the most recent Needham Park and Rec Commission meeting. Due to Zoom protocols or COVID protocols by the governor of Massachusetts, we are doing this meeting via Zoom link. So all of our conversations will be recorded and open to the public. What else do I need to add to this? All of our votes will be taken by roll call. When I call your name, please answer in the affirmative or the negative for each discussion item or voting item that we have for this meeting. Also, any public comments will be recorded and shared with the public at the end of the meeting and will be posted on the town website after the meeting is completed. Any questions or concerns can be brought up, and I ask that everyone please raise their hand and state their name before each question so we can get it on record of the recording. Any questions by anybody on the commission or the staff? Stacy?
If we bring in the public to speak, they should state their name and their address for a record.
Yes, I will also. Yeah, so anyone that does speak that is not part of the commission, please identify your name, your address, where you live in Needham. So thank you. All right, we are ready to go. I apologize, and I thank you all for the last minute changes. As you know, I have been stricken with the COVID along with my son, so I appreciate that we are allowed to do this by Zoom. So thank you all for coming tonight, because I think we are also going to be at a different location because of another scheduling conflict that we had at the Rosemary Recreation Complex. So hopefully this makes it easier for everybody. Stacy, you had your hand raised.
Yes, I did just want to let the public know if they have any questions or comments as we go to the open forum, or if you would like to speak, please put your questions and answers in the question and answer, and we will go from there.
Perfect.
We have 2 attendees in the meeting.
Great. And if you wait for a moment, I'm just going to the meeting packet. Thank you very much for getting this to us.
Thank you for your patience on me getting to this, and just in one giant, I printed everything and scanned it. That's how I made a PDF, Kristen, like old school.
Oh, it was good. Thank you.
Made one giant packet.
Go ahead. Looking at the meeting agenda for tonight, open forum or public comment, that I know we do have people for the public. Is there any public comment to start off the meeting? If anyone would like to raise their hand, I'll give it a few moments to see if anybody wants to quote something in the questions or raise their hands.
Nothing yet. You
Okay.
may continue. I will let you know if somebody raises their hand or puts a question in the box, checkbox.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Next up on the agenda we have is the chair's update. Nothing really major at this time, as a matter of fact. I know we've kind of had a skeleton crew with everything going on, but nothing as of the major issues that are going on that we won't discuss during the agenda tonight. If I do miss anything, I will definitely bring them up throughout the agenda, but nothing that is pressing at this time. So next we will jump into the Charles River boat launch. Stacy and I are going to be scheduling a meeting this week to meet with the abutters of the project. Stacy, I know that you got a full calendar. I just saw the email come out in regards to the rail trail. So you and I will talk offline after to pick what the best date is for you, that we can meet at the boat launch and get the proponents all there. So
Okay.
Any other update from your end?
Nope, that was all, just that we need to coordinate that actual date.
Perfect. I will do that after we get off the meeting. Next up, we'll right into the director's report, and Stacy, I will hand this over to you.
All right, once again, thank you for your patience on this. I really appreciate that. So last week is the first week of our summer programs. We had a few hiccups, but nothing we couldn't handle. So it was very successful overall. It wasn't a full week. 4th of July is never a very full week, but it's always a good week for the staff to get accustomed to everything and get used to the process, and the kids as well. So we're partnering with 2 of the school programs, the Bridges program being held at Elliott, where the school does, I believe it's like math and English in the morning, and then they come to us in the afternoon. And then we're also partnering with the ESY group, so kids that are in the special ed department that attend the extended school year program in the mornings over at Sonita. We now have another group of staff over there in the afternoon for them to do programs, arts, just basic mini camp in a similar way. So all of that started last week, along with the first week of swim lessons. So it was a busy week. Everything went well. And we also had our first Arts in the Park last week, which was very successful and well attended from what I hear. Very well attended.
That usually draws a pretty good crowd.
Yep, it's been very good. The one item of note for the pools is our new floating wheelchair, which we got through a grant, and it will allow people that have mobility issues to not just enter the pool, but then kind of float around in the pool, which if they if they use wheelchair as their main mode of mobilization, they often can't float in a pool, and this will allow them to go both into our zero entry pool, the family pool, and we can lower them into the lap pool if they want to be away from the madness of the family pool. So the staff trained on it last week. They're working out some little shakiness, putting them into the main pool, into the lap pool. So we're working on that. And once they're ready, we're going to really push it out to the public with Cindy. She put it in the Friday 5, which is a staff, like the news you need, but it's for the staff. So we pushed it out there, and now we're training on it this weekend and this week. So that is a very cool new feature that we have. You can also use it on the beach, but I won't allow it to go on the sand because then the sand gets in the pool.
How is the staff holding up to, sorry not to interrupt you, in regards to like the real first kind of week of this? I know it was a shortened week with the holiday and everything, but how's the scheduling going? How's the slotted times? I mean, it's a good happy medium. What are you hearing, good, bad, and indifferent?
Yep, so we're still doing reservations during the week, but we have yet to hit capacity, and there's no two time slots. We're allowing people to stay through and float back and forth. And it's been great. The weekends are good. The staff is doing really well. We've been very lucky with our staff, and they've been great. And they are training. They're required to attend, I think, 4 trainings throughout the summer on Saturday mornings at 8:30 in the morning. They can pick whichever Saturdays they want. So if you ever drive by at 8:30, the staff will be doing all their trainings in the water.
How close are we getting to capacity? I'm sorry, Cindy. Sorry that you had the hand up. I apologize.
So we have a people counter. It's not perfect because when the staff goes back and forth or people go to the splash pad and back, it double counts us. The weekend of the 24th, which was our real main opening weekend, I was there every day. And by numbers, we were getting close, but we're training the supervisors to really look at the water and see what the water looks like and see what the tiers look like and try to decide, are we really near that number? Because the 350 is 300 is our water number. And so we've been training the maintenance staff to count whenever they do water tests. They also do bather counts. So we have those counts, and then we have the supervisors working on it. So we have been quite comfortable. Nobody's called me. Fabian and I were there the opening weekend, the big one, and we were both like, this is totally manageable. 100 more people would make it worrisome. This is manageable. And we haven't gotten there yet since then.
Good. Cindy, you had a question?
Yeah, Stacy, back on the floating wheelchair, do people who want to use that need to call ahead for a reservation? 1, and 2, does it require 1 or 2 of our staff to be dedicated to that? Just in case I'm talking to somebody and trying to promote this idea, I want to be able to be accurate.
Sure. I actually haven't thought about calling ahead because we haven't used it. Nobody's asked to use it. If it gets busy, then we'll move to that. In the meantime, we'll just go first come, first serve. Unless somebody calls ahead, then sure, we'll reserve it. Definitely. It technically does not need staff to go into the family pool because it is easily transferable from wheelchair to the floating wheelchair. You would need staff assistance to go into the lap pool.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep. All of our staffing, all our seasonal staff have been hired. I'm on the last rounds of the hopefully last time that we are hiring for the admin specialist position, and I hope to have that wrapped up by the end of the week. And as you can see on the report, our current pool memberships and tennis memberships. Also included in the packet is, and I labeled them this time for you guys, an income report for June. That's everything for June. Doesn't matter what people purchased. And then the same thing for July, which is just, you know, July 1 to now. Membership income, pool admissions income, and again, that is from the day we opened, June 17th, until today when I ran the report. Those are the daily admission money. And then Fabian likes me to put in the ice cream. That's year to date. That's how much ice cream we've sold. We are bringing back the rest period. So my guess is that when we kick those kids out of the pool for 15 minutes, these ice cream sales are going to go up. So that's good. And then the last one is the long one. That is all of our program income for very specific dates. I did 7/5 to 8/12. So that captures all of our summer programs that we run, all of the vendored programs and the swim lessons. And then like a few random things in there, like adult tennis lessons in there. I did the detailed report so you guys can take a look, but it is 13 pages. So
Notice
and
that.
I think that is it on, yes, that's it.
Mr. Chair?
Of course. Cindy, question.
Stacy, did anything stand out to you? Sorry, I didn't have time to go through this today. Anything stand out in that report that surprises you? You know, either because it's bigger or smaller, or maybe you haven't had a chance to digest it either.
So this was the first time I've run the daily admission report from the start of the season till now. And it gives us a good overall look. I'm actually pleased with it. I've been doing, because of our lack of administrative staff, I've been doing deposits. So I see the numbers more regularly. And so it's interesting to watch, but that's a good overall number. And I'm happy with it and not surprised with it. So that's good. I was more upset with the ice cream numbers. I thought it was kind of low. I mean, we have a treat of the week. This treat of the week is the Oreo cookie sandwich.
Oh, and how about on the program side? What about on the program side? Any thoughts?
We've had a couple of vendor programs we've had to cancel that aren't too surprising. Our programs are doing well. This week, you know, there are a couple of groups with like 5 kids in a group, but it's the 4th of July week. It's always that way. I think it's just more obvious this year because we've been so restricted the last couple of years, and now we're much less restricted. So it's more obviously, like we went from just on Kids Off Broadway, 5 kids last week to 20 kids this week.
Okay.
So, you know, everything kind of just jumped up. And now we're hitting the point where people are now emailing and calling saying, my kid loved camp. Or do you have any more openings this week? So.
Okay.
All right. Any questions by any of the commissioners in regards to the director's report? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, looking good. Apologize, jumping through a few screens here. Commissioners update, appointment for the rail trail. Well, Michelle, since you were out in London, guess what? No, we would never put someone in a situation like that.
Oh, we would not. I feel like we have.
We definitely would.
Okay.
We
yes,
didn't, but we
I
definitely
I
would.
tried to sugarcoat it, but
And I really did sort of feel like I saw this coming, but.
oh, yes. So my term is up on both the CPC and the Rail Trail Advisory Committee. That we're looking for someone to step in and take over that mantle. It is not as much of a committed time as the CPC, but there are quarterly meetings, I think, Stacy, that we have.
Yeah.
Just to
Like
kind of go over,
quarterly.
but it's a good group of people. James Goldstein does a fantastic job. We're more just there for an advisory role, and Stacy takes a great interest in it too. So it's a very, it is an important thing, but it's one of the things of it in regards to a time commitment. It's not a long time committal of a position. So we were wondering if it's something that you would like to be the appointed commissioner who represent us.
I would be happy to do it.
All right.
Thank you so much for
The excitement
selecting
on your
me. I
face
feel honored.
answers it all. Do we need to vote this in, or is it just a verbal? Okay, we need to vote this in. All right. We have a nomination for Michelle Geddes to be the new appointee for the Rail Trail Committee. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I will take a roll call vote. Cindy Chaston,
Aye.
Dina Hannigan,
Aye.
Michelle Geddes,
Aye.
and the chair is also an aye, so a unanimous decision. Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations.
Cindy
Thank you,
looks like the Cheshire Cat.
Thank you. So happy. Thank you.
Definitely. All right, something that is definitely near and dear to the heart. How are the outdoor bathrooms and porta potties doing? I know it's something that we're in the mid of the summer right now. Honestly, I haven't heard any complaints. I was down at Mills all this past week with our Williamsport program. Never heard one concern, and the bathrooms look good at Mills. But that's only one that we have throughout the town. Anybody else here, any complaints, concerns, good, bad, and different from any of the bathroom situations that we have here in the town?
I have not heard any concerns. We do have there is a porta potty at Newman. Kristen, do you know if the one at Greens is there yet?
I was playing email tag with Kelsey last week and it fell. So
It fell over? Hmm.
it fell onto the floor since I was out. So I did reach out to her again this morning and I have not heard back from her today, but
Okay.
I'll keep on her.
So we haven't heard much. I haven't heard any like, please put in porta potties. You know, it's kind of a slow season, so that's good, but we are working on getting them because the ones we're gonna put in now are gonna stay through the fall. So
Good.
we want to get them in as soon as we can.
Okay. I mean, I hate to go with the analogy of no news is good news, but if we're not getting phone calls or emails, I mean.
Why would you jinx me like that?
So I had to. So, all right.
I will say DeFazio today did not have, but I chalked it up to Monday after a busy weekend. There was no soap in the dispenser and no paper towels anywhere.
Okay, thank you for letting me know because we'll reach out to SJ.
Yeah.
They clean it every day. So there is no, it's Monday morning. They're
Oh,
supposed to
okay.
clean it
All
every day.
right.
Now, of course, it's busier on the weekend, sure, but they're still supposed to clean it every day.
Yeah, I mean, it looked better clean wise and it definitely looked good. Better than it has, but I did notice no paper towels or soap. There's like a tiny bit of soap left.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
About sunscreen, was there any sunscreen at all?
Yeah, there was, but I forgot to reapply it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which
Wasn't
is
sure if that
why
rang out or
I
not. So,
have the chills and everything, hence the sweatshirt in the middle of summer.
all right, wonderful.
Mhm.
Next item coming up, the capital projects. If you scroll through your packet, that probably takes up the rest of the majority of the packet, as a matter of fact.
It
I
does,
asked-
and I have them flipped. So I have McLeod first and then Claxton. I apologize for
So
that.
just
but-
for the sake of the order of the packet, we'll go through McLeod first. That Michelle, I know you weren't at the last meeting, and Cindy and Dina, you've looked at it. And again, just coming from a perspective, I think Ty and Bond did a fantastic job with the McLeod update. I think in regards to kind of wants and requests and doability, they nailed it. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I think the designs that they came up and the possibility of doing what they can do in the budget that is, projected out there, I think they did a great job. The user groups, which we all know about, have seen this, and I think they all agree also. There are some minor questions that they want to ask, but nothing of a majority of, hey, let's flip the field instead of it here, let's put it there. So in generally, there's I want to say a 95% approval rate of what they've seen so far, and just need a few more minor detailed questions. Stacey and I have talked that we're thinking about that. I know you're on vacation, but we're thinking about having them in on the July 25th meeting to go ahead.
Not them. Eddie will be there to represent them because we don't have enough meetings according to the contract. So Eddie will be there to represent.
Got
The
it.
conversation.
So no time bond, excuse me, thank
Correct.
you for the correction. So it'll be Eddie there speaking with us and the user groups to kind of come with, because we want to be at final design. I mean, the sooner we get there, the better, because we do have those 3 meetings with Conservation Committee, Planning Board, which I think is 2, correct? So in the allotted meetings that we want to have everything pretty much tied up by end of August, beginning of September. So in regards to design and everything like that, so now we're just kind of going through the motion. So we're ready to submit the CPC article for December 1st of this year for this project to go through. Michelle, you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't see anything about a scoreboard? Was this?
If you look, hopefully I can see it. There wasn't a picture of one, but in one of the
Okay.
design schematics, I'll see if I can, oh gosh, of course. it's
Michelle,
not-
they're
and that's
looking
fine.
to piggyback the one that's
The
on the
existing.
turf fields
Yeah.
and just use the backside. That is their suggestion.
Okay.
I don't know where it is in here, but that was part of the conversation we had, is to put on the backside.
It's
Okay.
on
Because the
page-
electrical, everything's already there.
Great.
If you look at it, it's on page 23 of the design.
Okay.
But it's just a little shout out. It's not like, you saw the backstops or the dugouts or anything else like that. It's more of just a small design that you see when you're looking at like the Google, I call it the Google map of the view of the field.
Okay.
So,
Great. I just didn't want that to be missed or.
no, definitely. Does the commission have any questions, concerns, comments? Dina, hi.
Hi, I just want to make sure it's not going to be an issue because I'm away on the 25th. So,
Yeah, I'm also away.
Looks like
I am
Michelle's away.
too.
Wow. Everyone's on vacation that week, huh?
So I guess we're rescheduling.
Yeah.
No, just me and Chris. It's fine. We'll handle business. It's fine.
It'll be efficient and quick. Don't worry.
So either we can push it out to the first week in August, or if the following week works for us and Eddie, we can figure that out offline. I can send out a doodle poll.
Okay.
Figure out if we want to squeeze one in. Because the August 8th meeting is starting to look busy as well. So
Maybe,
might-
maybe August 1st.
does that work for everybody?
mean, that-
And we can plan on a Zoom, so that's easier, or we can decide to do it in person.
Can
Yeah,
you
I
send
can
out
do
a
the
doodle poll
first.
to look at their calendars? That would
Yep.
be great. So,
Perfect.
okay, great. Any other questions in regards to McLeod? Stacy?
So we met the other day and with the department heads and myself and Ty and Bond, there was a couple of things. There was a list of questions from the user group that Brad, I know, answered. We are all on board for the 200-foot fence, but the other ones we can talk about later. The only
Sure.
thing that is going to check in on is currently that field is the Metaflight landing area.
Yes, it is.
And so we need to check on if we put in a semi-permanent fence, is that okay? Or do we have to go without a fence because of the helipad landing? And it was brought up to ask if Conroy can be it, but it cannot because of the overhead wires. So Eddie is going to work on talk to the new fire chief and the police chief about that.
Okay,
Just so you guys are aware. That's one of the things that's outstanding from the town side.
and Conroy is the one that's
Okay.
outside of the track,
That's
correct?
the track field, yes.
Got it.
Because we do not want them landing on a turf.
No,
If
No,
possible, they have done it, but it's not good. But we obviously, that's a requirement that we make sure we still have the space for med flight.
okay,
I just been informed that August 1st will have to be in person. Unless the governor changes the order again.
okay,
It can be hybrid, they can all be hybrid, but the chair, myself, and somebody else has to be in person.
okay. We'll look at our calendars. Blah, blah, blah. All right.
can you
anything else?
just walk through the timeline, if you don't mind, just walk through the timeline of what, so we meet with Eddie. And then when do you suspect roughly the next meetings will be? And this is all with the December 1st submission in mind, right? To
Yeah,
CPC.
so we're hoping we would go out, we would have design documents by the end of the summer. So
Okay.
not only does it affect the landing, the fencing, but it will also affect the light poles. So we may not get lights there because of the med flight landing. So that's the other thing that comes into play.
Okay,
And the answer is I don't know.
So-
So Ed's working on that, but
So we're
he's been
looking-
in and out this week.
right. So if we're looking at I'm looking at our next meetings, the 25th is going to be tough because a lot of people are on vacation. If we're looking at either August 1st, say we have a meeting, Eddie's there, the user group is there, Our next scheduled meeting will be August 22nd. Maybe at that time, we're kind of buttoning up everything.
We'd be
By
ready, pretty
yeah,
much ready
by-
to go.
Okay, but by September 12th, we should have
Yes.
final designs for us.
Yes.
And then after that, it's just meeting with planning board, conservation, and then buttoning those up and being ready to submit by December 1st.
Right.
And
And depending on lighting, zoning.
Sure.
say, if we do go ahead with lighting, we must have to meet with zoning board of appeals, I
Yes.
think.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
got it. Do we see
all right,
any
thank you.
factors that this would not go to CPC for this coming cycle?
No, it's definitely coming to CPC.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure. All right, that is McLeod. Let us now jump on to Claxton. And Stacy, I'll let you run through this one because I like what I see, but go a little more into it.
Or. So, whoops. Okay, so these are the improvements to Claxton Field. So Claxton's getting a facelift. Let's just start with there. Basically, you guys ever see Face Off, that movie? We're gonna peel back the top layer, put in 18 inches of loam, and then we're gonna push back this second layer. I don't know if it's gonna be Nicolas Cage or John Travolta, it really depends. But that's basically what's happening. And we're putting that geothermal special blah, 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 to protect from the yucky dirt. In addition, we're working on the ADA paths, the walking path around the field, and then there's like ADA upgrades, shaded benches and things of that nature. So the fields at first glance is gonna look very similar. We're going to upgrade the lights, but not the poles, so that we're gonna get on Muscos, so that everything will be just like we deal with DeFazio and Memorial. Everything will be done by the computer or the app, so there'll be no more passing the key around, because everybody in the world has that key. And then right now we're just looking through, like I put in all the cut sheets they're sending me right now for different benches, different, there's some cool storage areas. There is, some of the bases look frightening, so we're gonna go away from those. Did you see the bases with the spikes in them, Chris? Like, we're not doing that. We're going with safety bases that stay put and also pop out when slid into, because that's the safest thing that can happen.
Which I know they have those ones now that they were installed, but they were the probably 2 on the gauge, and the ones we need to put there are like an 8 or a 10.
Yeah. You know, right now we're like, which pitching rubber do you like? And I'm like, the cheapest one that doesn't fall apart. I don't know. But the benches are big, you know, the fencing, those kinds of things. But the big thing is going to be ADA accessibility to both fields, batting cages, bathrooms, and then whether or not we want to do the walking path around, which I think just brings so much more value to the town to have a walking path around the whole field.
Can you remind me, is that playground gonna stay a playground? I can't recall.
We have not made any decisions on that. It is going to stay the way it is until this, at least, the very least, this project is over.
Yeah,
Or if it comes up in the meantime, but whatever that space turns into, whether it stays, that becomes a playground or something else, it'll be a completely separate project from this.
okay.
Question about this, and I apologize, the train's going by. The budget for this, I would imagine it's the same type of budget that we were looking at when we were first looking at Claxton, or are we up and down? I don't imagine we're down, but I imagine, are we up from the original number that we were looking at Claxton, or what are we looking at for this?
So we're down a little actually, because if nothing else, the lighting. Putting in brand new poles and things is very expensive. We're not down as much as you would think we are or would want to be. It's like we're not having the project. We're down a little. I don't have the exact number. It's not in here, and I apologize for that, but I could look that up and find that spreadsheet for you and send it out.
But you would say we're close to what we originally thought for the original Claxton concept, or we're over by a smidge, if that's a,
Well, I think we were at 1.8, right?
18185, I want to say was the number.
I think
that
it's like 14 or 16. The last I remember.
Okay, so definitely within range. Now with this, is this something that also we are trying to get on the CPC agenda
Yes,
for this funding cycle?
yes.
Okay. Do you see any hiccups at all of them not getting to the final by December 1st?
No.
Okay,
They need a little more nudging than Time Bond does, but I'm on this one.
timeline. Okay. You're owning this one. Okay.
Fine.
All right. Any questions in regards to Claxton?
I have a question.
Michelle?
From the feedback perspective from baseball and softball, I
Mhm.
know the initial goal around Claxton had to do with getting sort of a premier softball field. That's now being moved to McLeod. How
Mhm.
are they feeling about the efforts that are going into Claxton now? Like, is this actually, do they feel positive about these changes? Is it mediocre? Like, I'm just checking to make sure that this is a high priority, given the fact that we are prioritizing McLeod for the space that Claxton was sort of intended for.
Yep.
So that's my first question of like, are we solving the problem that we initially had with the changes to Claxton? And then also, I know we talked about potentially moving to having like looking at the playground area for something else, like potentially a skateboard. And would any of these changes impact the ability to do that? Are we unwinding anything that we're spending money on now if we were to shift the purpose of that space?
Sure. I'll answer the second one first. Regardless of what we put in that area, Michelle and our commission, we have to build up when we can't dig down. So if it's a playground, we have to pour a pad. If it's fitness equipment, we're gonna pour a cement pad. If it's a skate park, that's all cement anyway. So nothing we do in the field will affect our options for the former playground area. Because we have to build up, we can't go down. The answer to your first question, I actually talked to one of the softball dads last week because he sent me an email with requesting a bunch of answers, and I called him and said, I have zero time to answer your email. This is what's going on. Their first thought was like, can we just scrap the project and just get new shade structures? And the answer is we have to put down that barrier. So we have to pull the skin off. We have to pull that top layer. We have to get the dirt in. There's going to be backhoes. So, and they seem to be like, okay, all right. And they want to do fundraising right now for, upgraded backstop, upgraded shade structures for the, depending on what kind of, player benches we can get. They want to potentially fundraise for bigger and better. And they want to get it done yesterday. And those are the kind of things that, like, if they want to do a shade structure over the player benches, and they fundraise it, we could probably pull that off now because there's already a pad down. Like we're not changing the location. So they still seem gung-ho to put a lot of effort into Claxton for the upcoming youth groups and whoever else. So they're, they wanted to save the money, not doing the big project and just put in, the amenities. And I was like, we have to do this part.
Great. Yeah, that was sort of my question of whether if we didn't need to do this overhaul and we could just find specific things that would improve.
Right. But now that it's identified, we have to do the
Great.
barrier.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yep. Cindy, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Can you talk about the timeline for this? Because I'm wondering, when will this field be offline and be back online? How disruptive will this be to the softball seasons?
The idea is and we were supposed to have a DPW Park and Rec meeting monthly. We have them monthly. It was supposed to be last week. the world fell apart last week and so it got postponed. So we're gonna meet this week to get a better sense of like, you know, is the chicken or the egg going first? We're not really sure. So we're gonna really look at these timelines and make sure that the McLeod timeline, which I believe is the one gonna go first, though don't quote me on that one because I'll know better at the end of this week. I think it's Friday, Kristen, we have a meeting. To figure out like this one's gonna go first and then this one, and then that way I can tell you more succinctly when Claxon will be offline and when McLeod will be offline.
And
'Cause
do you
it really
anticipate
depends on, because I
so
don't
they
know
won't be offline at the same time? It won't be the same timing? They'll follow each other? Okay.
I think it would be detrimental to the youth programs if we took them both offline at the same time. So I think the idea is to do them, you know, one after the other so that as one's coming off, one stays on, and as the other one gets back on, the other one can go off. But we have to sit down as our two departments and figure out exactly what those timelines look like because they've been kind of shaken up than the original timeline. But obviously I don't think Claxon won't be off as long. Certainly
Okay.
than the original project because it won't be as intense of a project as originally designed.
We're not digging.
Okay,
a hole.
and-
And if
doing
we're
it-
not digging holes for light poles, that saves countless numbers of hours.
Right, and yet you think we can have lights there that will be sufficient to play softball and, maybe not baseball, but softball?
Yeah, so what basically we're just gonna work off the same poles and like, I don't know exactly, but this is my very down to earth version. They're just gonna take off the top and put in the new light fixtures and then wire them to, or wirelessly, I don't know how they work. But they'll be tied into our Musco system.
Okay,
So it'll be
And-
the old poles with the Musco lights,
okay, as long as that's sufficient light for softball, okay.
definitely.
And then a follow-up question, you mentioned bathrooms. What are we doing? Are we doing bathrooms in this project too?
No, so
Are
there, Claxon has bathrooms.
Yeah,
We're just making them accessible.
oh, so we're
Right
not,
now,
Like a
like, they're
path.
not, like you, so basically we're just paving a path to them
oh, okay,
from the parking lot and then from the bathrooms to the field.
so they won't be improved, no improvement really, I mean, for,
Not currently. I mean, I agree that all of our bathrooms, except for Mills, need significant improvement, but that was not part of the project. It was just about making them accessible.
all right. I didn't think it was part of the project, and I thought you mentioned it, and I must have missed it, it was just the accessibility, which is important, but it would be nice if we could upgrade the whole thing.
I 100% agree with you.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Any other follow-up questions in regards to Claxton? Going once, going twice. All right, on to the next subject. Letter D that we have for CPC. Dina, how's it going with CPC? Or have you not had a meeting since your last elected role?
Oops. There hasn't been a meeting. So there was the one meeting I was not able to make and I've not heard of another one since.
It's probably going to be late August. Kristen, I'll let you.
I bet Kristen knows.
It's in
I bet-
2 weeks.
Okay. So I assume I'll get an invite like I did for the last one. Like about a week before.
CPC is 100% in person at the Charles River Room, I believe. I think we were looking to move to Powers due to some concerns.
Okay.
But
No, but
we
I mean
can't-
like a calendar invite. Do they send those or you just,
yes, and it's already on my
Okay.
calendar, but let me make sure that you get the calendar invite.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Dina, what I will do also this week is that I will get on a call with both you and Peter Pignatore, who is the chairman, and just as an introduction and just answer any questions or concerns that you might have and just kind of go through. And of course, Kristen's going to be our lifeline for any questions that come up or pop up. So we will definitely
Yeah.
not do a baptism by fire and make sure that you have a smooth transition.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Nothing else for CPC. Next up for playgrounds and facilities, greens update. Stacy, I know you said last time that we're pushing out the timeline till September-ish.
So basically we pushed out the bid, nobody was bidding on it because the end date was too soon and nobody could do it. So we pushed it out. I believe Cataldo is still the one that won the bid, right?
They did. The contract is in process.
So the contract's in process, but now they have until October to finish the job. Whereas before we were asking it to be finished by the end of July, but supply chain and just like project load, nobody could get it done. I mean, people that I've worked with for years were like, we can't turn it around that fast. So we moved it out. So it's not ideal. It'll go down for about a week to 2 weeks in, I'm gonna guess, the end of September, October. So it's definitely not ideal, but it does have to get done early enough that it's not too cold out.
Now, not that this is a huge, determining factor, but Cataldo was also the company that was awarded the town common project, correct? So there will
Yes.
be representatives in town, so it's not like this is the only project that they have. And I'm not saying it's the same crew, but to have the crew.
No, and there's no saying they won't get it done sooner. They can
Sure.
do it. They have to let us know, but they can do it anytime between now and the due
Okay.
date. But we extended it to allow let it be more
Okay.
reasonable and get more bids. So that one is the contract is in process.
So with the contract being executed and once it's finally signed, we will, by the beginning of winter, have Greensfield playground completely redone.
Yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Going up next, let's go into facilities. The boat launch, we kind of talked about that, or are we talking about the other boat launch that we're talking at Rosemary?
That's a boat dock,
I'm sorry.
not a boat launch.
We'll go into that one after. Any update on the boat dock?
I am working with Ty and Bond, which means I keep forgetting to respond to his emails. But that project is also slated for September after the pool closes.
And we already
And
have,
perhaps even later because the spray deck stays open later than the pool and they're going to be using that ramp as the accessibility to the boat dock.
got it. Now, this is also funding that we funded a little while ago, so everything should be taken care of. It's
Sure, a little
not
while
like we're
ago.
coming back to the
Yes.
town for more money.
Yeah, there is a warrant article
Okay,
that will cover it. So this it's
this isn't coming
the-
out of a
in the
emergency.
recent past.
Okay, good. DeFazio,
I have no idea why this is on there.
the only thing I would bring up is that I noticed that since the Memorial Day soccer tournament, the parking has been a little bit extended because they wanted to do that. I think it's great. We don't need to change it back. The only thing I would ask is that there's some leftover barriers on the right side. If we can put them towards the area where it says do not enter, because there used to be barriers in that would like kind of bottleneck that. Now it's wide open. People are just flying right in the do not enter part. So the flow of traffic is almost non-existent. I know it's a slow time, that there's not a lot of user groups there, but if we can kind of take those extra barriers and put them in front of the do not enter sign to kind of narrow that gap so more cars don't drive through there, that would be the only request that I have.
I'll send that out.
Okay. Pickleball.
Don't. Mm-mm.
No, we got to
Yeah.
talk about it. Do we need a PO for paint?
So the pickleball situation at Pollard has gotten more complicated.
Enlighten us.
I'm working with town management on whether or not we're going to share the space for the dog people
No,
at Pollard.
no, I'm sorry. No, it's not a dog park. We have a dog park in Needham. This is not a
So
place.
the
for
town
dogs.
manager reached out to a group of people and said, hey, is this okay? And I responded and said, hold up. No, no, no. She just returned from vacation, so I did not meet with her today, but I do have a meeting this week with her and Katie King to discuss this because we know there will be trash of a certain kind left behind from the dog people, and we cannot mix that with pickleball players.
Oh, no.
No,
So
Dog people.
It-
When did dog
Where do
people-
they want to put the dogs?
Yeah,
they
where
want to
did-
get them
them run
off the
around
field
inside
at
the
the
tennis
school.
courts
So they
is
were,
it.
I don't know.
What
I haven't
they
met with
do
them.
down
It was an email. I responded. I slowed everything down. We're gonna meet about it. Paul Pickleball, whose name I can't pronounce, so that's his new last name,
Mhm.
is It's already, they have volunteered to put down the lines. The paint has been purchased. We are just waiting for go from town management, which I said, please give me until early of this, last week I said, please give me till early of next week. So I can have this meeting, excuse me, and then we can go from there. So
I
I
agree.
know
Now,
how you all feel. I feel the same way. I put
Yep.
the brakes on it because I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I don't even think the school wants that. Forget
No,
about us. The school doesn't want dogs there. I mean,
and they're not supposed to be there on the field, but they come anyway. And they're, yeah.
Wow. I,
I think you
Yeah.
can take the voice of where we are with this and communicate.
Oh,
this.
I heard the voice before I even heard it. When I got the email, I was like, no, 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 no.
no,
So-
I'm not sympathetic to, I'm sorry, I'm not sympathetic to the dog owners. We have a dog park. I'm sorry if it's not what they want. I think they need to ask the town for what they want and we can try to figure it out. But the pickleball people, there are a lot of pickleball people. And dogs don't belong on school fields or playing fields.
I
And,
agree, 100%.
And I'm sorry if there isn't a place for the dogs to go run. I don't know. And I will freely admit, I don't have a dog. But I can't imagine that I would think I should have access to public fields, children's fields, playing fields, and other courts for a dog. But just, that's my opinion. And we have been searching for a pickleball place. And we thought we had found a good place, at least for a temporary, even the Pollard courts are a stopgap. So
They are.
I think
Mhm.
town manager I think she'll be in agreement with us, but I don't know if she's, obviously has other things to think about, if she knows about these dog people.
Right. And I would imagine that Ed Olson is not for this either.
I don't think so either.
I
He was
still-
on the email, but I responded within 12 seconds of getting it. So nobody else responded. And Kate said, okay, let's touch base after vacation. And I said, great.
Wow.
Okay.
It sounds like it's not the field that's the issue, it's the courts, which isn't. I mean, you don't want
Selfish.
dogs running around on tennis courts. I mean, that's not even. like,
Right.
nice outdoor space. For the
My
dog.
knowledge, the only reason why they do it is that because they can go in there and
It was
close the
fence.
gate and let their let their dogs run around without
Sure.
it unleashed.
Well, I
Sorry,
know what
we have
will
to fix
prevent
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
prevent that is pickleball players will prevent dogs from being on those courts because they're not
Exactly.
being used. They're not, there
Yeah.
isn't anything that's deterring them from being there. So I think that's the issue, but that doesn't feel like the best solution.
All right, I think we're all in
Assumed You guys
agreement.
would feel this way. So that's why I was like, let's put the brakes on this one and meet. I'm happy to brainstorm with them about other options, but that's just not one of them right now.
It's definitely not one of them. So, okay. All right, well, I'm glad you brought that up. The Gaga Pit. There is
I
an
very
organization-
honestly have not followed up with that person to ask where else might be a good option, and I've not talked to Ed about it, and I just made myself yet another note to respond to them.
Can you just give a brief overview? Because I know, Michelle, you were not at the last one.
yes.
Just a Reader's Digest version, please.
We have a person that wants to donate a Gaga pit and they wanted it Cricket, but all of us think Eddie will say no, thank you, to put it at Cricket, but it's still a good amenity for the town. It's just I was going to reach out back to them and say, is there any other options that you would be happy with? Obviously they wanted it Cricket because it's near them, but that is, of all the grass fields in town, that's Eddie's baby, and we don't want to mess with it. Unless there's a space that's off to the side, that would be good, because while Gaga pits are awesome, whatever's inside that octagon, the grass is done. It will never grow again. So you just have to be prepared for that. But it is a huge amenity and awesome to have, and I know a few of the elementary schools have them, so it'd be lovely to have one at one of our parks. And it's going to be donated, so.
Perfect. Any other questions in regards to the Gaga Pit? All right. One thing that I noticed, and hopefully I'm not going out of order here, but since we're talking about facilities, there was a question by one of our attendees in regards to the skate park that I know that since we're talking about facilities and we're talking about Pollard, can we please bring up what we can do about getting the skate park to the upper lot at Pollard? I know that it was busy last weekend. Eddie's crew was all hands on deck for getting the 4th of July set up, which was fantastic, by the way. But can we now get on their agenda about getting the skate park to Pollard?
Yes, to be fair, I was under the impression you were spearheading that coordination because I didn't have the bandwidth, so I didn't even follow up with him. So I can if you would like me to, or
I will keep you in the loop and I will hit them up first thing tomorrow
it
morning.
is in long towards storage. We'd love to get it out of long term.
Sure.
The other question is, before we move forward, Kristen, we were thinking of putting the pop-up skate park at Pollard in the upper lot. I just received your email today at some point about some lay down area for whatever construction's going on up there. Will that affect said pop-up park?
The upper lot on Harris Avenue?
That's the one.
Yes, it will.
Until when?
End of August. It's
So
the
there's
Harris
a project at Pollard that
it's the Harris Avenue improvements that infrastructure is passed in the select board.
So nothing to do with the school, but with the Harris it's the street.
Yes.
they're using that as the zone.
Yeah,
to put
they'll
all
be,
their
they'll
equipment.
be, I mean, it will probably be great for the skateboarders, honestly. There'll be curbing and the large truck vehicles that are, when they're not being used during the day. So during the day, it will just be blocked off with likely materials, but then it will be used for storage of the heavy equipment.
Okay. So that plan's out the window.
But
What
there's-
about,
let's think
Oh, sorry,
about
Mr.
Hillside. Let's go back to Hillside, maybe.
then, listen, if Hillside's ready to go, I know that it was kind of off limits because they were doing the remodeling for the.
Let me
phase.
call Hank Half and find out where in the construction world they are and if we can find a corner of that parking lot to put the skate park in. That is safe and away, if they are still doing construction, safe and away.
And quite honestly, Stacy, I don't know how much of the parking lot they require. It certainly can't be something that impacts them being able to get in and out freely at the times that DBW workers work, which is 6:30 to 7 in the morning until mid to late afternoon. So they would have to get in and out unimpeded by people, but and things.
We're just gonna
but-
see if Hillside's available.
Right,
What
yeah,
about the side lot though? That's near the gym in Pollard, near the tennis courts. It's a decent sized
Or
parking.
towards the gym.
We still have, the staff still needs parking because the school staff still goes in there throughout the summer. So I just don't know how much, because now they're gonna move away from the upper lot. So I don't know if they need that. I haven't spent enough time at Pollard to really know the lay of the land up there. But it could be an option. I can't give an educated guess.
I think it's worth talking to
Mhm.
the vice
That's cool.
principal or principal there to see if there's a spot. Because there's also that sort of plot of concrete, or there used to be, that's not in the parking lot. It's like, it's where the bikes used to be. in Pollard, like
Upper or behind?
upper.
Like the courtyard, is that what you're thinking?
Well, there's the
Ooh.
courtyard, but it's down near the parking area, and it used to be just, they may have made it look prettier than it
I
had
think they
been.
put a rope course back there.
Oh, no, it's up, it's near
You're
the
talking
road.
Harris Ave. Yeah, not
Yeah.
behind. the
Okay,
sorry.
you're talking about the circle side, not the back behind side.
I just think it's worth exploring some of the little spots there, because it doesn't need to be a huge area.
There's not that it doesn't, you're right. There's not that many pieces. I can try to get over there this week. I have to go to DPW on Friday, so maybe I'll swing through Pollard and take a look at like really Because I've only honestly been in the back area. I haven't been out front on the Harris side, so I can take a
And
look.
like, how many cars are we talking and could they share it with the
Right, and I
layout?
can reach out. Tamitha
Right.
actually responded to your email, Kristen, so we might have an idea of how many staff we're talking about over the summer.
Stacy, if you want, I'll meet you there Friday. You tell me when you're going there, I'll meet you. We'll go look at it together.
Kristen, when am I going there? Noon?
She's their
Cecilia
schedule.
likes to ruin my lunch.
Well, I mean, seeing that the DPW is closed at noon on Fridays.
I know.
Oh, my
Wow.
goodness.
Awful.
No, it's 9:30, Stacey. Nice and early, just for you.
I said,
So on my
"Oh."
way to work, 9, I'll be there. Nice and early, that's like lunch.
I know. All right, 9 o'clock. I'll see you there Friday morning. We'll walk it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great.
All right. Anything else in regards to facilities? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, great. Action items and approval. No special event requests.
None.
Wow. Can't believe that. Meeting minutes.
You will receive them at the next meeting.
Okay, so we are going to pass on those. Issues not reasonably anticipated by the chair within 48 hours. I don't have anything off the top of my head, but I will go to each commissioner to see if they have something they would like to bring up. We'll do Michelle first.
For me, thanks.
We will go to Dina next.
and obviously we could talk about this offline. I'm wondering if there's like a SOP for when people start to badmouth Park and Rec on the Facebook pages, like,
There is. Do not respond.
right, right. But we don't respond, but I do notice that sometimes threads get completely hijacked by the airing of the grievances. So do we point those out to you, to Stacy, to?
So this, and I'll tell you what I tell my staff. Don't go on there.
Yeah,
Kristen ignored me. And so she would often send me things that I can actually deal with. Like, how come there's no ADA swings at Greens? Great. I would reach out to that person specifically and say, hey, let's set up a meeting.
mhm,
So if you see things that that are reasonable, that we can answer, that isn't going to trigger a back and forth,
mhm,
give me a heads up or send me a screenshot.
okay,
If you need, the only other thing that we can do is promote all the things we are doing and where to find the correct information.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
like engaging never goes the way you want it to.
Mhm.
So the only time I reach out or engage is if, like, how come there's no skate park in town? I would reach out to that person and say, actually, this commission is talking about this, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
But the back and forth, I honestly don't go on it because
right, everything's our fault.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tina, was there anything in specific or just in general? Was that?
I mean, and there's also like kind of the same cast of characters I've noticed, but it's just airing a very the grievances. It's just one time it was like, wow, we don't have any ADA swings, or, how come we don't? And one time it's just a lot of people think the town center improvements are us.
so great. That's a
Um,
great project.
Yeah.
Yes. Just that kind of stuff that I don't respond to, but it does irritate me because there is, once one person starts, then the next and the next and the next, and then it's a, show. And then
Yep.
I often want to post the hyperlink of where they can find meeting minutes where we talked about this, and I'm just wondering, is that something we do, or?
My staff is not, I request that they don't. The commission saying like, the staff is working so great. We have a new blah, blah, blah at the pool. Here's a link with more information.
Mhm.
Something very flat and
Yeah.
not specific to whatever the person was saying is great.
Yeah,
Like, good news is always good news.
yeah,
But anything, you don't want to engage in a conversation because
right,
people will turn that into
right.
worse.
And are you finding that a lot of people in town are thinking, anybody, that the town center improvement is us, and, people are, why are we spending all this money? And it's Park and Rec, Park and Rec, Park and Rec, which it's not, but,
I can tell you that the department is not getting any emails about it.
oh, that's good.
Or,
Okay,
or phone calls.
Okay.
We're getting plenty of emails and phone calls about other things they're mad at me
right,
about,
yeah.
but not the town hall.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So it's just people complaining.
It's keyboard cowboys, I'm sure, but it's
Mhm.
still kind of like you just want to correct them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very
Go
tempting.
ahead. Right. I mean, it is tough, like, you know, the answer and you want to get it out there. And I will go back to Matt Toolin, who was one of our former commissioners, that I think his only post where our meetings are public, you're more than welcome to come.
Yep.
If they want to come get the answers, they're more than welcome to. If they want to hide behind their keyboards and just type stuff in, let them do it.
Yep.
You really want an answer, come on down and see us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the times I've responded to somebody with like, why don't we have any of this? One person responded and I had a lovely conversation and got some great information about ADA stuff that would be helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got that. We ordered it and it came in.
Right.
So, Kristen,
Chris, you have your hand raised.
In case you're not aware, there is a entire webpage dedicated to the Town Common project, and all updates are going on there since it is a
Good.
large scale town project.
Okay. Was not aware. So that's actually good because
can send you the link.
Point people to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
yep, that would be perfect.
It was in the town's newsletter, I believe, not this last Thursday, but the Thursday before.
Okay.
Okay. Michelle, do you have your hand raised or are you just waving to me? Okay.
She's like, no.
Trying to think what else. The only thing I will also
You didn't
say,
ask me.
I'm sorry, Cindy, I was saving the best for last, but I'll let you go.
Stacy can't believe it. The only question I have is, are we scheduled for that August chairs meeting
Oh,
with
yeah.
the select board? Because I'm very anxious to hear their reaction, and I'm happy to go if there's an opening. But if it's the chair and vice chair that go from our commission, I'm happy with that too. But I'm very anxious to hear what their reaction and responses to all of what I would call 3 or 4 major project requests that I think we have, right? Pickleball being one, and action park and skate park and tennis complex being the others. And is that scheduled and a firm meeting?
Yes, so I spoke with Katie King, and I have yet to speak with Miles Tucker, but I will reach out to him. He was off today, but I'm going to confirm that the person that both the boards chose is still on board, and then we can discuss it and make sure that you are all on board. And the appointment will be on the 26th, as you know, the day after our meeting that we're not having on the 25th. Right. The meeting on the 9th is scheduled, and I was wrong in our last meeting. It is public. It will just be either during the meeting or right before, but it will be public. I was
So it's
wrong about that.
August
So
9th?
yes, so it'll be, 2 commissioners from our board. At least 2. There can be more now that we're publicizing it. So I'll get more information about that when I talk to Miles this week. But it is confirmed for the 9th.
So that's a different meeting, and I guess I need to understand. I thought there was a chairs meeting going to be held, and it was going to be a brainstorming kind of thing, and that's not at
That was my understanding, and so I want to follow up this week because I spoke with Katie last week, but I want to follow up with Kate this week and make sure that I understand what's happening, because I agree, Cindy. I thought we were just like, there'll be like, me, Kate, and 2 commissioners from each group just kind of brainstorming what we might do. I didn't think it was going to be publicized, but I want to confirm that because I don't have that confirmed.
All right, so I would put in a request that we ask for a meeting like that we ask to have we used to call it a chairs meeting, right, Chris? We had
Yep.
and it would be the chair and the vice chair of our commission, or 2 anyway, if those 2 couldn't make it. And I would like to request, and when I talked to Kate, it was in passing, and it was back at the League of Women Voters warrant night.
Yep.
He said, let's get together this summer and let's have a chairs meeting, let's brainstorm. And so my understanding of that was, again, not a public meeting, not that
Okay.
we're doing anything that couldn't be public, but just that it would be a brainstorming, throw ideas around. And I thought it would be a good chance for us to let them know what we're hearing and what we're getting pushback about for projects, because I think they should know the extent of it. So I guess I would request, and I don't know if that comes from you, Stacy, or from you, Chris,
Mhm.
to set that up. But I think that's different than the 9th. Is that correct?
So I agree with you. I think that was my understanding of it, and it's good to know that you had that conversation in passing, so I can bring that up. I think it's certainly better to have that brainstorming meeting not in the public, and then we can have that conversation with the public, obviously. So I obviously have to meet with them a bunch of things this week, but I can confirm that for you guys and put in that request. Chris, if you would like to request that as well, you can do it on the select board side and I can do it on the town management side.
Perfect. Could you just do me a favor also, just so we're all on the same page, just a quick email to all the commissioners of, this is what the expectation is for the July 26th meeting. This is what the expectation is for the August 9th meeting. Just we're all on the same page. So if Dina or Michelle or any of our commissioners have anything that we want to bring up for either of those meetings, just so we know what we're talking about on both those times.
Okay, thank you. And I have one other thing, Mr. Chair.
Please, the
Can
floor
you,
is
can you
yours.
give, thank you. I was charging ahead without your permission, sorry.
Shocker.
I know it's a shocker, sorry. Can you give us the timeline and update for, I'm on timelines tonight apparently, of the new commissioner appointment? Because it's not clear to me, and boy, we really need to be fully staffed with vacations and all kind, and COVID and everything else hitting us.
So the short answer is July 26th is when the person will be appointed. I need to just confirm with Miles that they're on board. I assume since I didn't hear that they are on board, and then I can send out an email to you folks so that you are also aware. But the person will be confirmed, is that the word? Appointed on the 26th, but then the meeting will happen later on the 9th.
So we'll
So-
be down to just one person. Oh, sorry, Cindy.
No, I was just gonna ask, so
Sorry.
the commissioners involved have made a recommendation, because my understanding is it comes from the commission as well as the select board member, right? So the commissioners have made a recommendation, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And there's a backup just in case.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So then.
Oh, yes, yes. So
Okay, yeah.
like, I think I explained last time, and Michelle, again, I know you were away. We did go through the interview process. There were 6 candidates that we interviewed in 15-minute spans, and it was intense, but it was really good to kind of get, excuse me, the gist of it. And I think all candidates were great for, applying for, but there were 2 that just stuck out of what they could give back and be for the next commissioner. So there is a 1A and 1B, if I could say that we're making the recommendation for 1A. If 1A can't do it because of the requirements, then we will definitely go to 1B. But I think 1A would be a strong candidate, just like 1B. And I will share offline with the commissioners my suggestions.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Next meeting?
Well, just actually before that, I do have to give a shout out to the Exchange Club for a phenomenal July 3rd festivities. I mean, it's been 2 years since the fireworks have been there and did not disappoint. I mean, there were people coming from out of town, all over the other states that were coming for this. I know that I dropped my blankets off at 8:30 and I thought I was one of the first ones there. There are about
You're
20
not.
other people that had already dropped off their blankets. So I have to give the Exchange Club a huge shout out from what we saw. Could not have been more perfect of a festivities for July 3rd and July 4th.
Yeah, those fireworks were phenomenal. And I
Yep.
don't know if you saw on the Needham page, there's a guy that takes pictures from a drone.
Yes, saw those.
I
Amazing.
did not see those.
photos.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Yeah,
That's
glad you enjoyed it. We
Yeah.
had a huge crowd and I think everything went great. Talked to the police chief at the end of the night and he seemed very, very pleased with how the night had gone. And then, the next day the parade went fabulous. So thank you.
Would you say there was an estimated number? Because I know like there's a certain amount that you can let on the field and the area. Do you think they hit that goal or?
So it looked pretty crowded to me, but honestly, I had my head in the drink tent all night. I was responsible for the drink tent.
Not that drinks.
So I did have more than one person ask me if we had alcoholic drinks anywhere that they could buy on the field. No, I'm sorry, we don't allow those in the park, but
You know, I told,
just soft drinks and water. So I think we had a great crowd. I didn't hear an estimate from the police chief. Some members at Exchange thought the crowd was not as big as we have maybe had in years gone by, but the field was pretty packed and the parking lot was pretty packed, and the roads
And the
were.
baseball field was also, I feel like it was pretty typical of what it's been.
Yeah, that's how it seemed. I think our food sales were down, but who knows,
Yeah.
maybe people still reluctant to
Yeah,
eat food out of it in a parking lot.
or
but,
can't afford it with gas prices. But yeah, I think there was probably the same. I from looking at those pictures, the drone pictures, the entire football field was full, and then half of the baseball field. And I feel like that's usually how it is. And they don't allow
Yeah.
anybody on the hill, right? Like you're not allowed to
Right,
be on the
right.
hill. So yeah, it's pretty
No,
awesome.
Yeah, all of
I know-
we got was great. We had some very generous sponsors, and people were generous with donations. I think the stuff that we sell, we maybe didn't sell as much as we usually do, but people are always generous, and we appreciate that. And we
Yeah.
appreciate the town. The town helps. The DPW are fabulous.
Those guys are, yeah,
And what
key.
we tell them every day. We all tell them. But the police are great. We pay for the details. The firefighters are there, of course, and they're great. But the DPW shows up for several days and just helps with the tents, going up, coming down, doing the trash, and so the town does help. I mean, the Exchange Club raises the bulk of them, all of the money, but the town is definitely help. But I think it's a great event for the whole town. It's a good community event.
It was
That's
good.
good.
We had a big meeting on Friday in the morning with like all the departments involved, the Exchange Club members, and it was pretty cool to be a part of that meeting and just see like everything. Everybody was kind of like, I think we got this. This feels good.
Yeah.
Like, we're going. I mean, I think, were you there, Cindy, when they were talking about how it's having it on like a Sunday night gives you much more time to like
Yes.
prepare, which is
Yes,
both good and it feels exhausting
Yeah.
at the same time.
It was funny because I was up there Thursday, actually working Thursday, and then we set up Friday, and then Saturday we didn't do much except move soda, and then Sunday we were crazy, but it was often we do the whole thing in a day and a half. So to have all those days was weird. It was just different, but it was good for an aging group of club members who could use the downtime because we're not young.
I didn't realize that the fireworks are purchased via all donations. That's incredible.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. The whole event costs us between the 2 days costs us 100 to 110,000. So
Wow.
that's what we have to raise, which is if you've probably all done fundraising, it's a huge amount of money to raise. I mean,
Yeah.
just raise 10,000 for something is a huge thing. So there's a lot, but again, we had a lot of generous business sponsors and people are generous. Hopefully, I don't know what the numbers shook out. Hopefully our goal is to cover our costs, because if we have a big miss, it would be huge for the club. We don't have a lot of financial wherewithal, but hopefully we made it. I haven't seen numbers yet.
No, it's great.
So.
No, the only comment also is that I heard the president-elect was a little slow on getting the lights on, but we'll let that slide.
Well, those take
Gave
a
him
while
the
to
key.
warm up.
He had the key.
They
Well,
went on just fine. Okay,
I
they
heard-
went on just
heard they're a
fine.
little
At
delayed.
least they weren't
That's all.
early.
Well, they are delayed. They take a while to warm up. Like that's
I don't think it was the
normal.
lights. I think it was the guy turning on the lights. But
Oh, gotcha.
all
Could've
right.
been.
Nothing else that we have there. Now let's jump into meeting dates. Just by taking a general straw poll here, no one can make the July 25th meeting, correct? Michelle, you're on vacation. Dina is probably suntanning somewhere. Cindy's also on vacation, correct?
Correct.
I just checked my calendar.
We're on
August
vacation
1st works for
Tuesdays.
me. Does that work for everybody else?
Yeah, that works for me.
If we can get this up right now, let me pull up the calendar. Hold on.
What is this expectation on this meeting on the 26th?
July.
Nothing. Chris has to go, not you.
Oh, okay.
You have to go to the rail trail that night. That's what it is.
Right,
No,
okay.
you don't.
Good to know.
Don't lie. We don't even know when the next meeting is.
No, definitely. No, I know August 1st works for me. So if we're looking to do
Me
this,
too.
all right. So we're all in
Yeah.
agreement that the
So I'll
July
update
5th
that
meeting-
tomorrow. And make sure that we have all that in place.
Got it. All right, perfect.
Is CPC on Monday night?
No, Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like to break it up your week.
Nice.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Lovely.
And then looking at that, August 8th is looking good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, depending, we may not need August 8th, but I think we keep it on the books for now.
Sure,
depending on
exactly.
what's
I'd rather
happening.
have it than take it away.
Yep. And then the 22nd.
All right, perfect. Just looking at this. 22nd, I will actually be in North Carolina that weekend. But I will definitely let you know if anything changes from that. So I'll be at a baseball tournament.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Any other discussion items, questions, concerns? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All right, all those in favor, I'll take a roll call. Michelle Geddes,
Hi.
Dina Hannigan,
I.
Cindy Chaston.
Aye.
The chair is also an aye, so it is approved. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. I appreciate this. It's not easy getting COVID. I know some people have gone through it, and I appreciate the quick movement at the end. And have a great